So here's why you should never buy a house cash. I hear this a lot. If I buy the house cash, then the returns I get on the property are better. I'm not paying for a mortgage, so therefore all of the rental income from the property comes to me and doesn't go pay some mortgage company, which is true to an extent, but let's walk through the numbers just a little bit. Let's say you got a $400,000 property that can generate $5,000 a month in Airbnb rental income. Buying it in a city where Airbnb is popular, or there's lots of visitation and tourism, reasonably predict $5,000 a month. You buy this $400,000 house cash and you get $5,000 a month thereafter. Let's say if you were to finance it at 90%, right, 10% down payment, you're only gonna make $1,000 a month, which is an extreme and frankly impossible example, but let's just go ahead and use it. You're only gonna make $1,000 a month if you put 10% down. Okay, $5,000 is a lot more than $1,000. It's 5 times as much. You also only initially invested 10% compared to 100%, which means you could do that 10 times. You could get 10 properties that way, right? With that same $400,000 only being used as 10% down payment, you could get 10 of those, which computes to $10,000 a month, okay? Twice as much. And that's an example that's incredibly unlikely, if not impossible. A more realistic example is you reduce your initial investment to 1/10 of what it would be for an outright cash purchase, and your cash flows would be reduced by more around 1/3 to 50%, usually less than half. And that's the general rule of determining whether or not leverage or financing is going to increase your return on investment over a cash purchase. If the reduction in initial investment is less than the reduction relative cash flows, i.e. 1/10 of the initial investment is less than 1/2 of the cash flows, it will increase your return on investment. There's a simple rule of thumb you can use to determine if leverage is going to increase your return on investment. If the relative reduction in initial investment is less than the relative reduction in cash flows, then it will increase your return on investment. So let me walk you through it real quick, okay? You're doing 10% down. That means the relative reduction in initial investment is reduced to 1/10, right? Is 1/10 of the initial investment you would have to do in an all-cash purchase compared to an all-cash purchase. Let's say the relative reduction in cash flows is 50% or 1/2, because now you have to pay a holding expense on the mortgage and whatever else, property taxes, there's other things. 1/2 is larger than 1/10, all right? So the relative reduction in initial investment, which is 1/10, is smaller than the relative reduction in cash flows, 1/2. As long as you're reducing your initial investment more than you're reducing your cash flows, your return on investment will be higher.